The G7 summit wrapped up with leaders agreeing to new sanctions against Russia over the war in Ukraine. It was a rare show of unity during a summit marked by differences in US President Donald Trump's early departure. But the crisis in the Middle East between Israel and Iran taking center stage, becoming a main point of contention among attendees. Nick Harper reports.
This was a summit that was largely overshadowed by the tensions in the Middle East. Its agenda was upended by the conflict between Iran and Israel. And it was a summit where one of the G7 leaders left halfway through. Donald Trump abruptly departed at the end of day one, which perhaps speaks to the major challenge facing this grouping: unity. They struggled with it on a variety of different issues. They managed to find some consensus when it came to the situation evolving between Iran and Israel. They put out a joint statement on Monday calling for de-escalation. But then Donald Trump on Tuesday spent much of the day seeming to entertain the idea of joining Israel in its aerial bombardment of Iran. On Ukraine, they managed to agree to a range of new sanctions against Russia, but Donald Trump was causing problems by saying it was a mistake that Russia was no longer part of the grouping. Russia was kicked out in 2014 after it annexed Crimea. And then, when it came to the meetings, Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, said that they were highly productive, but pointed out that this was just the beginning rather than the end of their work. But he also hinted at the challenges that the grouping had been facing when they were confronting issues around the world, but also the challenges facing them around their negotiating table.
Over the past days, also met with global leaders who will help determine what is success in the new global system that will emerge over time. And underpinning each of those discussions was, I stress, Canada's readiness to work to create new international partnerships to promote a world that's more secure, prosperous, just, and free. We're looking to deepen alliances with stable democracies who share our interests, our values, our principles.
There was no joint communique at the end of the summit detailing everything they agreed on. Instead, the chair, Canada, put out statements on 6 issues that were discussed, including critical minerals, transnational repression, migrant smuggling, battling wildfires, AI and quantum technologies. Nations will now head to The Hague next week for the NATO summit, where they will be looking at the issue of the war in Ukraine at a time when Mark Carney said multilateralism is under great strain. Nick Harper, CNA, Banff, Canada.